Hi, I'm Alex McCord and welcome to The Real Deal on TheStir.com. Today we have episode 5 of season 6 of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, season 9, episode 17 of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and checking back in on Botched, which returns with episode 7. Now, I will cover The Real Housewives of Melbourne tomorrow. I didn't want today's episode to be an hour long. So, let's dive into New Jersey. It's all about newbie disasters this week, and who are the worst offenders? You guessed it, Jim and Amber Marchese. Let's get Jim out of the way before we get to Amber. Now, those of you who have watched me defend my husband Simon in years past know that I firmly believe men should have their say on the housewives. I do, particularly when a man has something constructive to say or calls out a housewife on legitimately bad behavior. Here on The Real Deal, I have defended Slade Smiley, Terry Dubrow, Peter Thomas. The list goes on. I always think that if a husband has a valid point, he should be allowed to give it. But Teresa Giudice pulls Jim aside to ask why he refuses to associate with her husband Joe. Jim is incredibly condescending to Teresa, Dina, and Melissa. He talks to them like children. He actually asked them if any of them had an IQ over 12. Well, the ladies say, "You're a man, you can't talk to me." Normally, I wouldn't buy that excuse, but in this case, the fact that Jim is a man and not a housewife is actually irrelevant. Don't even bother playing the man card. He lost the right to speak to Dina, Teresa, and Melissa, not because he's a man, but because he is arrogant, hateful, and rude. But enough of Jim. Let's get to Amber. Part of the experience of being a new cast member is that you are thrown into an existing group of women with no manual. Nobody tells you what to do or gives you any advice or help whatsoever. It's just, oh, just be yourself and you'll be fine. And that's about it. Amber forgot, or perhaps never knew, rule number 1 on Housewives. If you bring something up on camera, it is not in confidence. It is not a secret. You must expect that whomever you tell will tell the whole cast if it serves her or the storyline, or if telling will help out another housewife. By gossiping to Melissa about Nicole on camera in the first place, Amber made it storyline. Amber did it. Now, should Melissa have repeated it? In the real world, off television, no, she should have kept her mouth shut. But they're not in the real world. They're in reality TV land, where Melissa is perfectly justified in repeating a conversation that will be televised in the name of serving the storyline, serving Nicole, take your pick. Next. Post-fight, Amber says she will never speak to Nicole again, and this is another newbie mistake. She doesn't realize that that's impossible on an ensemble cast show. You can't stick to that. If Amber stands by it, she is cutting herself off from filming. All Nicole has to do is make the chess move of constantly surrounding herself with other cast members, and boom, Amber's the outsider. Amber makes an attempt to win over Teresa and Dina, but it's clear that in doing so, she's choosing the girls over her husband, and that is dangerous. That is a risky move. When you choose the housewives over your husband, you might wind up divorced. Think about Simon and Tamara Barney on Orange County. Think about Cordell Stewart and Portia on Atlanta. Or choose your husband over the show and the girls, and you could wind up fired. Do I even need to give you an example of that? Amber has an impossible choice, and it's only her 5th episode. I would not want to be in the Marchese's living room after watching these episodes, particularly if Jim's temper raises its head very often in real life. But Amber's not the only one making newbie mistakes. Nicole does as well. What was her mistake? Well, it was not the hair pulling. She gets a gold star from the producers for that. No, Nicole demands that her boyfriend Bobby write off Amber and Jim. She's also forgetting that Bobby and Jim are best friends and have been so for 12 years. If Nicole stands by this demand, she may lose her relationship, which, since she's a brand new cast member, could jeopardize her status on the show. There are some cute moments with chickens and Dina Manzo's date. By the way, was anybody thinking that was weird? Why did they choose Serendipity as her date location? That is a dessert parlor where people go with their children. It's full of screaming babies and tourists. It's not for dates. Who picked that? Was Dina intentionally trying to sabotage the date with Matt? Was it the producers? I don't know what happened there. Well, while you ponder that, let's keep up with the Kardashians, where the family is home from Thailand. Kourtney is bilking Khloe to the tune of $25,000. Scott is drunk as a skunk, and Mama MJ is having some MJ. I'm not sure why the storyline of Kourtney and Khloé decorating the house is even a real storyline. Kourtney presents a bill for $25,000 to Khloé after she picks out some things for the house, and Khloé goes ballistic. Well, okay, you should never work with family, and if you do work with family, whether the bill is $25,000 or $25, you need to discuss the price first. Like I said, I don't know why this is a storyline. I think that they are both completely delusional here. The other 2 points of the episode felt a lot more genuine. Scott Disick is so drunk, he's wetting himself, which is not a good thing. If he had a job in the real world, this is where he would become unemployable. Now, at the moment, his job is being a professional Kardashian, so that's fine. But eventually, this show will end. And when it does, he will still have the rest of his life where he has to make money. And all of this footage of his drunken antics will be online and in syndication forever, easily Googleable or on-demandable for any employer or investor or partner. So what I say to Scott is save yo money. Finally, let's talk Kris Jenner, Bruce Jenner, and Mama MJ. Kris is so established as the momager and matriarch of this crew that it's interesting to watch her as a daughter. We learned that Grandma MJ has chronic back pain and to that end has been prescribed medical marijuana in the form of gummy bears. Now, it is not my purpose on the show to discuss the legalization of marijuana or the prohibition of currently legal and highly addictive drugs such as OxyContin or Vicodin. Grandma has a legal prescription, and so does Kris. Technically, Kris probably should not be having a dose from Grandma's stash, but she's legally entitled to her own, so okay. It's interesting to me that Bruce walks in and completely freaks out, but don't forget, he is a former Olympic athlete, so this probably smacks of doping to him, which he would completely be against. He also points out that Kendall and Kylie are minor children in the house who should not be exposed to marijuana in any form, medical or otherwise. It would have been nice for Kris to see that Bruce had a point, but maybe she was too high. In a way, showing Bruce's reaction was kind of a CYA move for the producers. They're showing both pro and con, but it's also another nail in the coffin between Bruce and Kris. If they can't see eye to eye, then what are they doing? What do you think? It's storylines like these that make the Kardashians interesting for me to watch. Finally, let's revisit Botched. This new series, renewed for a second season, just keeps upping the ante with their patience. The producers did so well this first season, if you think about it. They eased us as viewers into watching medical stuff on reality TV. Believe me, we would not have been ready in episode 1 to see what we saw last night in episode 7. Now that the viewers have gotten used to the see a problem, fix a problem setup, we need more if we're going to stay interested. And the doctors and the producers delivered. We've gotten used to our addiction and we need to up our dosage. So we saw 2 problem patients, and while Selena's botched breasts did need fixing, I had a little sympathy for her because a big part of her problem was that she messed up her own post-op care. It was Christina who was the tug at your heartstrings patient. How could you not love Christina? A bad tummy tuck resulted in a MRSA, a flesh-eating bacterial infection that looked ghastly, and then her husband left her with their 3 kids. She can't date because her body's all messed up. Ouch. That alone would be enough, but the ante is still upped. She also has full-on panic attacks and can't undergo anesthesia, so she's got to be awake for the whole procedure. Add to that her overall jumpiness. Christina thinks she's feeling pain when Dr. Dubrow merely touches her. It's an interesting level of human nature and a little self-delusion that we're used to seeing on docusoap reality, but not so much on a medical reality show. Also, the ante was upped with the rejected patient, Lacey Wilde. We've gotten used to a patient coming in who wants some crazy procedure that's not based on anything that was messed up, and the doctors turn them away, disappointed but wiser. But this was the first time I wondered whether Lacey and the docs just wanted to have some fun, whether she had no intention of getting the surgery from Terry and Paul, and it was a win-win situation because she publicized herself on TV. That's what I'm thinking. But in any case, playing light up your boobs made me more squeamish than the slicing and dicing of Christina's infected tummy tuck. But it was also lighthearted. It did get serious toward the end. Terry and Paul told her that there's no way she could get larger breasts, but if she attempted to with some other doctor and they exploded, come back to them for a fix. Well, boom, you've got your season 2 finale right there. Congrats on the second season, and I think that if Terry and Paul can keep the bromance going and not start fighting with each other, there is no telling how long this series will continue. Good job. Let me know what you thought in the comments. For now, I'm Alex McCord. You are watching The Real Deal on thestir.com. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, and I'll see you tomorrow.